Hey guys, so we have our first interviewee in-house, Mr. Shane Coley, captain of Team Glock. And so we got some questions for him that we're gonna go over about the Gen 5 and the Gen 6 and questions we have, and I'm sure you guys have. So from a product strategy standpoint, why does the Gen 6 and the V series exist at the same time, and how should the consumer understand the role of both of those?
Well, I think one thing to understand is the V series essentially is like a baseline of product. Mm-hmm. So we have obviously the new Gen 6 and the three models, G19, G17, G45. They're optic ready. So the V series that align with those models are priced differently, and they're also not MOS. Mm-hmm. So the V series was a baseline of models that's very similar to the Gen 5. There are some internal changes that were input to kind of streamline manufacturing into Gen 6. But the V series also has other models that aren't available in Gen 6 yet. So say maybe a G23, a G20, a G21, some of the other calibers. Mm-hmm. But they exist together because Gen 6 is the future, engineered for you, kind of what the next generation of product line is. But for everything else, the V series was to establish that baseline.
So what it sounds like the big difference between the V series and the Gen 6 is the V series is available in more calibers. It's the baseline model. The Gen 6 is, the future. It's engineered for you. And that's where, the flagship and where Glock plans on going for the future.
Exactly.
Okay. So then the next question we have is, when we were at Glock HQ, one of the things you guys mentioned was that Glock has moved away from the dual recoil spring assembly and gone back to the single recoil spring assembly for the Gen 6. What does that mean for some of the higher pressure caliber models, like the 40 and stuff like that? Are those gone? Or are those going to come around to the Gen 6 eventually?
Well, for the Gen 6, we're always in development of future products and new developments. But I think historically, the dual recoil spring was developed for the large calibers, the higher pressure rounds. And with the Gen 6, we made some reinforcements in the frame where that dual recoil spring assembly is no longer needed. Mm-hmm. And going back to the single recoil spring, it's essentially a simpler process. It's a more efficient part. And like I said, with the reinforcements we made, it's not a needed part anymore.
Okay. So how does Glock envision the future of the single stack line? Are we going to expect the Gen 6 updates to the single stack line, or, you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Of course, the 43X and the G43X and the G48 are extremely popular models from the slimline series. As far as Gen 6 and the slimline, again, we're always in development of future products. So I would tell you guys to stay tuned. We realize how important that line is and what that means or what Gen 6 would mean for that. So we're in development.
Now, switching a little bit. So how does the updated Gen 6 optic mount system affect the future of the Kowa pistols? And kind of what drove the decision to offer two completely different mounting systems between the two?
Well, I think what drove the decision is consumer preference. Mm-hmm. The Kowa, obviously, it was well received. It's a good mounting system. It's a good optic. And for the Gen 6 line, we will still have Kowa pistols. We will still have the A-cut put into the Gen 6 line. But with the optic ready system, we still offer separate plates. So for the individuals that maybe want to use a different optic, whatever their brand of preference is, mm-hmm. we still have the optic plates with the updated system that still offers them that availability.
Okay. And this one kind of leads into that, and you think you kind of gave a little bit of a hint here, but could you give us an update on the Kowa line and Glock's plans for it? It sounds like it may come around to the Gen 6 from what you just said. But.
Yes, so the Kowa will be available in Gen 6. It'll be commercially available kind of based off orders, and right now it's pretty significant to the law enforcement community. Mm-hmm. As inventory allows, we will have it available for commercial market again. But we will be offering the Gen 6 with the A-cut. So if individuals already have the Kowa optic on a previous pistol or a previous package, then they can still order the Gen 6 with the Kowa or with the A-cut and then still be able to mount the Kowa optic to the pistol.
Yeah. I'm gonna go a little off script here. Can you tell us at all, possibly, of when in the future that could be?
For commercial availability?
Yes.
I am hoping from everything I've heard, but hoping within the next couple of months, we should have some availability for commercial market again.
Okay, that's actually a lot quicker than I would have assumed there. And so then the final question we have is that, so what do you have to say to the people who feel that the Gen 6 has moved beyond the price point that originally made Glock so appealing, like a good, affordable pistol, and now the Gen 6 obviously costs a little more, there's more things to it, but what do you have to say to those people who are like, it's outside of what, Glock has made their mark on the industry?
Well, the interesting point with this is the Gen 6 pricing, the MSRP on it is $745. The MSRP for the Gen 5 MOS was also $745. So the pricing structure is the same from Gen 6 to Gen 5 for the MOS models. So the price structure itself is the same from Gen 5 to Gen 6. Now with the V series, like I said before, there is a price difference from the V series into the Gen 6. So there is a difference there. But I think the Gen 6 is still priced reasonably. And of course, our goal at Glock is to make affordable handguns that's available to everyone. And I think with Gen 6 and with the pricing that we currently have, we still meet that.
Okay, so just to clarify, it sounds like one of the big price difference is that the V series is a non-MOS or a non-optics cut version, and the Gen 6 obviously is an optics cut, and so that's maybe where a lot of the big price difference comes from.
Yes, so the V series non-MOS for the same models that are in Gen 6 is a different price. It's $647, I think, MSRP, where Gen 6 pistols and previous Gen 5 pistols were both $745 MSRP.
Okay. Well, that's all we got today. You guys have any questions? Feel free to ask right now. Nothing? Okay, great. Thank you guys for coming. Shane, thank you for coming down here and entertaining us. Hope the accommodations were up to your liking. So
perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you have any questions, it's Glock. You know where to find them. If you have any questions for us, head over to our social medias. And if you want to buy something, bluffbelts.com or glock.com or whatever their website is.